Hello, here is Thursday once again. Hello to everyone who's joining live on SPTV. It's so good to see you. It feels like forever since I've seen you on SPTV. If you're just joining live, you are so welcome here. This is going to be a very special evening, and we've got lots of exciting things planned for you. So if you're watching live, please do come and say hello, say hi in the comments, put your name, where you're from, and say hello to all of your friends and everyone you know in the comments and all your regular SPTV friends. If you're watching on catch up, then hello to you. You're welcome as well. There is no such thing as time in the spirit world, and there is no such thing as time on SPTV. So I'm sure what we talk about this evening, I've got a feeling it's going to be exactly what you're going to need to hear this evening. We have a very, very special guest for you who I know is the absolute master of saying that advice that you just need to hear sometimes. So I know you're going to have a really good evening this evening. So please put your name in the comments, where you're from, what you're up to. I'm not going to say the word that's relating to Christmas, Yule, anything, because to be honest, this is your time. We're going to come together in our virtual circle. This is your time with spirit. We're not going to talk about anything festive related. This is purely your spiritual time. For those people that I haven't met before, hello. My name's Reverend Ashley Oliver. I'm an interfaith minister and I'm a student of all things mystic, esoteric, and alchemy. And I absolutely love anything to do with the spirit world. So I'll be your host this evening and welcoming my guest. So what we're going to do, first and foremost, before I welcome my guest, is we're going to create our sacred space together, because it doesn't matter that we're on Facebook and YouTube. Together we are here in circle. So I'm going to light a candle and just create this moment for us to be in circle. Energy knows no distance, no geography, no time, no space. We are here in this moment together. So welcome, and you're so welcome here. I am going to introduce my very special guest now. And this is a lady who I came across in the world of YouTube, because YouTube is the most incredible resource. There is a whole back catalogue of SPTV shows for you to go and enjoy there. And this lady has a very, very extensive, she describes it as a vault, and it really is a vault of goodness and all kinds of spiritual goodness in there. And I found one of her videos, and then I stumbled into her Facebook community, and one of Christina's vodcasts have been one of my favorite places to go and hang out. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome my very special guest this evening, which is the lovely, all the way from the US, the amazing Christina Quick. Come on in, Christina.
Hi, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for having me, Ashley. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, it's lovely, lovely to have you. Your first time on SBTV. I'm sure it won't be your last time coming and joining us over in the UK. And for all of our friends who are watching all over the world on SPTV, it's really good to have you with us.
I
So
told my
while we're just,
husband
oh,
earlier this
God.
morning that I was going to be visiting Europe today. And he said, "How are you going to get to Europe?" And I said, "Well, I'm astrally traveling there today." And he said, "Oh, you're very, very lucky."
Absolutely. So you're international now. You're international,
Mm.
international. Amazing. We're going to say hello to some of our friends that are joining us from near and far, and let's see if we can find people. So whereabouts in the US are you from, Christina?
So I am originally from the Southwest. I'm from Arizona, so I came from the desert. So I lived in a little small town in Arizona. And then I met my husband. He's originally from Missouri, which is the Midwest. So it's like right smack dab in the middle of the United States. And so he brought me out here. I've been here for the last almost 20 years. Where I live, it's a lot of farming, flatlands, cows, corn, your typical sunflowers. That's one of our big, actually, sunflowers. You think of like Kansas, Missouri, you think
Mm.
of corn, right? But actually, sunflowers is one of our biggest crops that we grow. And one of my favorite things about living in Missouri is sunflower season, where you will literally just be driving down the highway and it will just be field, miles, acres of sunflowers.
Wow, that sounds beautiful. So yeah, so let's see if there's anyone on from that particular area of the US. If you're from the US, then it'd be lovely to hear from you. So we're just going to say a couple of hellos to the lovely, lovely Laura, one of our regular watchers, longtime friend of SBTV. Hello, Laura from Canada. Really good to have you with us, Laura. And on YouTube, we've got Brianna Burgess watching from Maine. Hi, Brianna.
All the cold places. Oh, Brittany, she's one of mine. Hi, Brittany.
Oh, hello, Brittany. Really good to have you with us on Facebook. Thanks for coming and supporting your girl Christina. Amazing. And we've got the lovely Roseanne Darby on Facebook who's calling in from Ireland. Hope you're doing well over in Ireland, Roseanne. Thank you for joining us. And the lovely Sarah Harris Bradley from Buckinghamshire on YouTube. I love how we have a split between YouTube and Facebook here. People joining from both channels. I love that. Thank you. And we've got lovely Matt Harris from Warwickshire. Hello, Matt. Thanks so much for joining us. It's really nice to have you with us. Oh, bless. Look at that really cute picture. Susan Robin, what a really cute profile picture. I love that on Facebook. Very cute. Good evening to you too. Thanks for joining us. Is Justino one of yours, Christina?
No,
Justino,
but he
it's
looks
really
like
good to
he's
have you
having
with
a
us.
really good time. So,
Justino Neves, you've got the best profile picture there. You are having a ball on Facebook from New York City. Thanks so much for joining us, Justino. And the beautiful Jade Fleming. Hello, Jade. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for joining us. Oh, Serendipity's in the house. Hello, Serendipity 589.
that is
Really
one of
good
my
to have you with
favorite
us.
words, serendipity. I love
Yeah,
that word.
it's a good handle. Yeah, it's a good handle. And we've got lovely Mega. Again, great. On Facebook, really good to have you with us. Good evening to you. Hope you're doing really well. Oh, the very glamorous Cindy Woodside on Facebook from Canada. Amazing. How is it in Canada? How's everyone doing? We've got the beautiful Jane Gee. Hello, Jane from Devon, just down the road, next county along from me in Dorset. Really good to have you with us. The lovely Judith. Hello, Judith. How are you? Judith Somerville from Scotland. And it looks like some kind of beautiful, inspired spirit art you've got going on in your profile picture. And we've got Sange Delacour from France. Really beautiful to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us live on YouTube. Really good to have you with us.
Oh, Svetlana, hi. That's one of mine too.
Hello,
Welcome in.
Svetlana. Good to meet you. Thanks for joining us. Oh, Laura. Yeah, it has been a while. Saying hello. Laura saying hello to Serendipity, which is what I love about this whole live stream is everyone kind of like chips in and says hello to all of their friends. Cold and snowy in Canada. Yeah, I bet it is cold and snowy. You're warm
The
here.
best,
Come on in.
yes, the best thing that I bought this year was electric blankets. They have been so good.
They're good because you can wrap them around your lap as well when you're
Hmm.
working and doing readings. It kind of stay snug.
Absolutely.
Oh, Brittany. Christina's always been international, but it's just confirmed it. Thanks for joining.
Oh, Casey's one of mine. Hey, Casey.
Hi, Casey. Thanks so much for joining us. Amazing. We've got lovely Amanda Jones from Wales. I hope you're all safe and well in Wales. Hope you're doing well. And if you're coming in and we have missed you, then we will say hello to people who kind of pop in. And if you put your name in the comments, then please do say hello to people you know who are joining. And especially, I know we're really good at that, but if there's people who are newcomers or here for the first time, I know because I've seen it happen when I'm watching shows. Everyone floods into the comments to welcome the new people. So this is what I love about this show. Amazing. Oh, and it is inspired spirit art. Do you know what? I thought it was inspired spirit art because there's been an awful lot of people inspired to do a lot of artistry and spiritual work. So it looks really good. Carry on with that. It looks really good. Okay, we're going to carry on with our show. And as with our normal Thursday shows, whenever I have a special guest on, I have a special guest on because I think they've got some really important things to say. I like to introduce you to new amazing people doing really incredible work out there in the world and to bring them to you and to give you some kind of links and resources so you can go out there and go and explore yourself. And we also like to do some readings. And we've got one of the best people to do readings for you this evening. So you're in for a bit of a treat. We're going to be sprinkling those throughout the evening. So as you know, we like to get drawn to people who interact, who comment, who kind of get involved in the show. So we will be offering readings who we get drawn to throughout the show. Brilliant. So Christina, For people who don't already know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're about and what the Luminous Lightworkers and all of the multitude of programs is and kind of how you got into this and how you started in your spiritual journey?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. So for me, this has been a lifelong journey, but I suppose it didn't really start to cross my psychic gifts and my spirituality. It didn't really cross into the business sector until about 15 years ago. I went to school for hair because I was one of those people. I went to beauty school because I was one of those people, like I'm sure a lot of people that are listening right now who are really talented, really gifted, really creative, really artistic, but don't really have and don't really know exactly what they want to be when they grow up or what they really want to do. So we kind of just fall into things that are convenient and easy for us to get into while we kind of find ourselves. And going to beauty school was the answer for me because I had always been really artistic, really creative, and I really liked the freedom within that field, being in what I really got into was at the end of the day, like I kind of became a therapist for people. And people would tell me their deepest, darkest secrets and wishes and desires and wants while they're in my chair. And it got to a point then where I was kind of like playing around with tarot cards and really trying to work on reading tarot cards. At that point, I felt impossible, but I would bring them to work. And so I would start doing tarot readings for free for people, because there's just some things that you can't answer without a spiritual answer, right? Sometimes you just need to consult the cards or you need to consult your spirit guides, and cards is one way to do that. So at the time, this was probably 2012. I was managing several different salons at that point, kind of working in the corporate salon sector. I had moved out of doing hair primarily and got back into doing like inventory. I started designing salons, um, filling them with products, basically being like a salon manager. And then I came to work one day before Thanksgiving 2011, and my boss sat me down and said, honey, I'm sorry, but I'm closing all the salons. And so I was out of a job. And
Wow.
so I was going through a really intense dark night of the soul at that point, because I was also just lost my father-in-law, who we had been taking care of as primary caregivers for the past couple of years.
Mm.
And so I was kind of aimless. I was kind of lost. And at the time, I was also dealing with skin cancer. So I had a lot of things going on that I felt like the world was really against me. Right. And I feel like it was probably the lowest I had ever been. And I will never forget, I was in the grocery store because I knew that I had to change my diet in order to heal my cancer, which I did. And I did that through a raw vegan diet for a couple years. But I was in the grocery aisle and I was looking at this like artichoke or something, and I'm like having a mental breakdown in the grocery store. And I just remember flopping down on the floor, crying, having a absolute mental breakdown in the produce aisle because I didn't know how to cook artichoke. But it was like, actually it's like
Mm.
when things
It
just
wasn't that.
it wasn't about the artichoke.
Yeah.
So this woman comes up to me and she says she doesn't judge me. And she said, and I've never had that before in my entire life. I never had someone just come up to me and like not judge me.
Mm.
But her first question was, are you okay? And I said, no, I'm not okay. And she's like, well, what's wrong? And I told her my life story. And then she's like, well, I can teach you how to make the artichoke. That's not a problem. But I think you should probably start coming to this church with me. And she said church, but it actually wasn't a church. It
Mhm.
was like a gang of spiritual rebels, like yoga people, people that played instruments, vegan hippies, and like tarot card, like a whole bunch of belly dancers. It was like a, collection of, I would say, spiritual kind of outcasts, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I started going there, and it completely changed my life. And
Mm.
once I started going to psychic classes and learning about psychic abilities and learning about energy, and started going to the yoga classes and started participating in their prayer circles, which were unlike any
Mm.
type of thing I'd ever been to, because they weren't like a traditional church. It was more like a women's circle
Yeah.
type of situation, where you kind of just go like who has the talking stick, right? and that was not something I had ever had. I had never had any type of support or encouragement from other women or anyone in my life ever. And so slowly but surely over the next, how long has it been now? 14 years, I've built myself back together. What I had to do is I had to step out of the corporate world and find my own path in life.
Mm.
And my vehicle for doing that and to finding my life purpose was through psychic readings. That's what I originally started. I started working on the psychic hotlines. Got out of that and started working on setting up my own business. Realized that I was very good at the business aspect of it because of all of my training with running
Hmm.
salons and always being business minded. I've always been a
Yeah.
little bit of like a heart-centered hustler, a little, and so I've always had to be hyper independent, fend for myself. I've never had anything given to me, right? So then I realized I was good at the business aspect. About 6 years ago, started getting into the business aspect, teaching people business skills for psychic work, but also focusing primarily. I realized that there was a huge gap in the world, and that was that psychic people, there is they run kind of parallel to people who, psychic people also run parallel to people who deal with chronic illness,
Mm.
people who are recovering from life-changing illnesses like cancer or autoimmune diseases,
Yeah.
people who are find themselves disabled, physically disabled, mentally disabled, intellectually disabled, whatever. People who find themselves in domestic violence, situations that are trying to get out of that, and just people who are just in economically wasteland areas that don't
Yeah.
have a lot of local opportunities. So that really became my mission, and that's where I've really been for the last 6 years, is helping people, giving them the tools to not only be independent financially, but also thrive as a spiritual person in this world where that is kind of a rebellious act.
It is, and it's a very empowering act, and it speaks so beautifully to, and I know you've spoken about this previously, but some of the empowerment that needs to happen around spirituality, which is a gift, and gifting yourself back to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So we give ourselves away a lot. We give a lot of our power away, and it's actually sometimes what we're looking for is that permission to say, you've got this, you've always been able to do it, you're just getting in your own way. Let's have a look at how you get in your own way and deal with that. But it's really interesting what you said about the business side of it as well, and sometimes it's almost crossing that real line of a taboo subject in
Mm.
spirituality. I know I've commented on some of your podcast about this as well. It's so huge. It's so
There's
huge.
so much shadow
Hmm.
in the world, just simply existing as a person. And then, existing as a feminine presenting person is also really difficult. And then if you're disabled, if you're LGBT, if you're any of these other qualifiers that make you, put you into a marginalized population outside of the normal average, there's so much shadow around worth and deservingness because those people are routinely told on a daily basis that they're not worth much, right?
Mm.
And then when you get to the spirituality field, there's so much resistance in and around that because it kind of carries over from that poverty lack mindset where we have this culture we've kind of grown up in the Western world where it's about how much you can do for other people, right?
Mm.
And so then going on this spiritual journey and trying to figure out, okay, where do I begin and where do other people end, and vice versa? Because so many people who have psychic gifts are inherently empathic. And empathic people, not only do we have to deal with shadows, but we also have to deal with these cords of attachment that we attach to other people, not knowing because we don't have that level of discernment yet to figure out, okay, what is my responsibility,
Mhm.
what isn't my responsibility, and learning how to cut those cords that keep us tied to people and situations that just perpetuate toxic behavior and disbelief in ourselves, right?
And boundary work is massive.
Oh, that's you can't
It's
do anything without first understanding, you know, boundaries. And boundaries are such a spiritual concept because they're so heavily influenced on ethics, morals, values, that sort of thing.
mm. And I love the way you talk about this because I'm an autistic woman and I love your directness. And a lot of the people that tend to be drawn into my orbit are primarily women, female presenting, and there's some kind of neurodiversity or highly sensitive people. And actually, it's that the thing that makes them incredible healers and readers and psychics and gifted mediums is the ability to merge and chameleon themselves into the loved people that that are coming through and speaking through them, or it makes them a very, very acute, amazing healer. But actually, that there is an energetic cost to that which needs to be taken into account. So I love this subject. It's a huge, huge subject that isn't spoken about enough. Really, there's a lot of people out there who are developing the psychic aspect of themselves without actually understanding their own energetic boundaries and permissions and all of the stuff which never really gets spoken about. So yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah,
And
it's
there's lots of comments.
interesting. Oh, yeah. We can go back and read a couple of those if
Mm,
you'd like to. I know Brittany had a good long one for us.
yeah, there's lots of so serendipity saying lots of people have got yeah, the shadow work is huge, and I know I keep going on about it every time I talk to you on a Thursday. Shadow work, you've got to do it. You do your
And
light
it
work, but
never
you've got to do
ends.
it. No, it's never a
It
finished
never
job.
ends.
Never a finished job. Sorry, Brittany, what have you said? So Brittany's a really good comment here. I think this is why I've been moving away from readings because we're essentially talking to people and listening, and people are aware that we're sensitive anyway. So why not just speak wisdom all day for free? Because how will I pay my cell phone bill? Yeah, exactly. This is your time. And Brittany, it's your energy and it's the experience and the courses. I mean, just the CPD alone for somebody who's offering any kind of spiritual service for people. I hate to think how much money has been spent over the
Mm.
years in various things. Yeah. So Cool Beans has got a question. Cool Beans, who is on YouTube. This is really good. So Christina, I'd be interested to get your take on this. I struggle trying to make Reiki a business, to make it a primary living source. Everyone that wants it can't afford it or even to tip me, and don't wants to pay.
That's one of those,
Tricky.
and healers especially. So I categorize so when you come into my academy, right, you basically take a quiz. And so what I've done is I've identified four main key areas that make up like your essence as a spiritual person. And one of those archetypes is healer. And I will say this, healers who are primarily focused on hands-on healing or Reiki healing, you guys honestly get it the worst as far as being undervalued. Okay. And the reason is because Reiki feels nice, but it's like one of those things where the people don't know that they need Reiki, or they forget that Reiki's a thing that they need. So for you, there's a couple different things that I would recommend. One, readjust your ideal client avatar. So the general public is probably not going to be your ideal client. So I would start focusing more on doing like luxurious events, like focusing on maybe launching some Reiki packages for bachelorette parties, launching Reiki packages for bridesmaids before a wedding. Think about different really stressful times in people's lives where you could offer like for $500 to go do Reiki for a couple hours on a bunch of people who are already paying for a service at the time. Okay. Another thing too that you could do, and this is where most people shift to, is for you to start teaching Reiki. So you would probably need to get your teacher certification in Reiki and to then start teaching Reiki locally, because one of the best gifts we can give people is to teach them Reiki so that they can use Reiki to heal themselves. So those are the two areas I would say to focus
Brilliant. There we go. Cool Beans. Look at that. You just had a masterclass from Christina.
on.
Amazing. Where is your academy? Sorry. So we can put the link in the comments or go
Yeah, it's
back afterwards.
www.theprofitablepsychic.com.
Amazing.
And it'll redirect you to the full academy link. And there's, lots of courses on there for everything from learning how to read tarot cards to getting started on the psychic hotlines, and then shifting from tarot reader to coach. And then from there, even things like learning how to run retreats and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot there.
It's a lot. There's a lifetime's worth of study there. So go and
Yeah,
get
you could
stuck
spend
in.
the next I have been told that my academy and just my YouTube, and you were talking about YouTube earlier. YouTube is the greatest free school on earth. It is like you can I've learned how to change out my toilet plumbing on there. I've learned how to cook meals on there. I've learned so many different things on that. And so I attract a lot of learners because I'm a learner, which I'm sure you're a learner too. Spiritual people tend to be learners, right? Professional students. So when I'm on there, people always tell me, your YouTube and your website and your academy are basically like a 4-year degree and equivalent to a university. And so that's one of the greatest compliments I've ever received on that.
Really good stuff. Really good stuff. Thank you, Christina. Super. So we're going to do some readings. So if you would like a reading, please put a comment in the chat. If you're here and you're live and you would like a reading, that would be amazing. And if you just react to stuff that's going on, really, if there's anything that's really speaking to you or any questions you've got for Christina, you've already heard the level that Christina goes into, the amount of detail, goodness you're getting this evening. So please take advantage of her time on with you this evening.
And if
So
you have any
yeah.
questions about life purpose or what your psychic abilities are, those would be questions that I would love to answer.
Super. Super, super, super. So let's see who we have got. So I will do a reading, and then I think if Christine's up for it, Christine might do another one after me. So
Yeah.
let's see who I am drawn to.
Are you using tarot cards?
I am using Oracle cards, and
Ah,
I
lovely. I
have
love
got a
Oracle.
variety. So
Yes.
Sarah Harris Bradley, I'm drawn to you on YouTube. Would love a reading. The reason why I love Oracle cards on SPTV is because they're kind of complete in of themselves. That doesn't need to be a big story. And Oracle cards are. I normally go for ones that are quite hard hitting as well. Amazing. So Sarah Harris, oh, okay. You need more fun, Sarah. I don't know what's going on at the moment, but the card that's come out for you is the play card, which is very unusual in this particular deck because these are quite serious cards. They're about surrendering what you need to surrender, but the one that's coming out is about play. There is a champagne glass in it. Obviously, alcohol is a personal choice, but this is just encouraging you to just take your foot off the gas a little bit. I know you've been pushing really hard. I'm feeling a lot of energy around my throat. I'm feeling like you've been doing a lot of talking. You've been doing a lot of giving your energy out into the world, and a lot of being there for people as well. You're very much an open-hearted. You tend to just go in where angels fear to tread almost for people who are having the most difficult time. You're that safe landing space for them to come and be around. But what that does mean, and it's interesting, we were just talking about boundaries, it just kind of means that, thank you for confirmation, it kind of just means that actually you're running yourself into the ground a little bit. And I'm also feeling that there's a lot of spirit around you as well. So spirit are trying to get through to you that you need to just take your foot off the gas. They're not telling you to change who you are as a person. They're not telling you not to be there for people. They're just reminding you that you need to put yourself first as well. I'm also being made aware of trying to book a holiday or a trip away, or there's something coming up which needs to kind of be booked in. You've been putting it off and actually it needs to happen. It's really important for you to be able to recharge. It's really important for you to be able to remember how you are when you're in ease and when you're in flow, because at the moment people aren't really seeing the best of you because what they're seeing is you in challenge. And I'm feeling very emotional as I'm saying that. They're not really getting to see that beautiful spark that is the divine you. So I hope that makes sense for you, Sarah. And I hope you have a really, really restful Christmas. I know you probably won't because you're probably going to be here, there, everywhere, doing everything for everybody, but try and just carve out a little bit of time for you. Thank you so much for joining us live, Sarah. Hope that made sense for you. Thank you. Oh,
That was lovely. Bang on.
Oh, you're going away second week of January. Yes, go and enjoy that, girl. You go and do whatever you need to do, but you enjoy that. It's really important you do that. Thank you. Thanks, Sarah. It's super. Ah, that was a good one. That was a nice one. Okay, we'll see who Christina's drawn to.
I think that's such an important topic, especially around the holidays. It is
Mhm.
so difficult to
Yeah,
find that space. So you got to take it.
you
I
have
would
to
love to
carve it in.
connect with Sue. Sue says, "Oh, look at her.
I
Is that a
know.
Maltese? That is the cutest." I love puppies. They're such spiritual, angelic creatures.
Yeah,
How do you see my spiritual path unfolding, please? And she's got a shining heart. So I've got my Lenormand cards here, which I
gorgeous.
recommend that if Oracle cards are also good, but I also recommend that if you're learning psychic abilities, the Norman cards are good because it's just one symbol per card. It's so, so simple to get started reading these. All right. So how do you see my spiritual path unfolding? Well, that is such a great question.
Mm.
Ooh, we got ship, moon, clover, and clouds. Okay. So what I'm picking up is that there's a direction that you've been. It's to be Sean.
Mm.
Okay, be Sean Freeze. Okay. Yes, those are lovely, lovely animals. I love them. I have an Australian Shepherd myself.
Oh.
So I see that you're wanting to move in this direction. And I feel like you've kind of been, it feels like you're sailing at sea, but with no clear direction. So you're just kind of aimlessly wandering about and you're looking for something. You're looking for that lighthouse. You're looking for that direction to lead you, that light to guide you. And what you've been looking for on externally is really what you've been looking for on the inside. So I think in some way you're kind of waiting for a sign to show up to give you a clear direction. But the spirit guides that are coming through that I'm hearing right now, they're telling me that they do, it's like this endless, aimless searching that really they want you to turn inward and they want you to start writing down your own psychic experiences and start creating a journal where you can catalog those and start picking up on patterns because they're saying you're looking outwards but really it's you've already got it, it's on the inside. With moon, this is talking specifically about mediumship. So mediumship is anything from talking to spirit guides to talking to our beloved dead, talking to people on the other side, talking to also things like crystals, trees, all sorts of things have spirits and souls. So what this card is saying is it wants you to start communicating with things that are around you that you want to start connecting telepathically with the spirit of those things. So since you have a puppy, I think it would be a really, really fun activity for you to try to send each other telepathic messages and see if you can pick up on that, right? Now, Clover says also that there is spirit guides are coming in and saying there's something with herbalism coming through. So whether that is making your own teas, making your own soaps, making your own hair oils, body oils, things of that nature, that would also be an area where you are talented. And I bet that you have some really great recipes that you use on yourself that you could probably even start a side business doing that. So that's what I see for you, Sue. Thank you so much.
Super. Look at that. You got so much in there. So let's
And
so let
I
us
can
know how
keep
that's going.
going.
Let us know how that is for you. See whether that's landing. Some feedback would be great. Yeah, amazing. Thank you. Okay. Oh, some more feedback from Sarah. Oh, thank you so much. Do you know what? It's lovely to get feedback because otherwise I feel like, we're giving the readings out. It's lovely to get feedback. Perfect sense. Thank you so much. I've been suffering for a while. I need to get my spark back again. You are so welcome. I've got big hopes for you for Christmas. Sarah, I hope Father Christmas is good for you as well. Super. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you spoke about Lenormand decks, and I know that you probably have as many different decks. We probably don't even
Yeah.
count how many decks we've got these. But how would you recommend people who are interested in starting? And I know that tarot is your thing, and that's kind of where you started. But what advice do you give for
Yeah.
someone who's interested in just kind of starting that psychic muscle?
Yeah, absolutely. So tarot is is kind of like the big boss, right? It's one of those things where it's very complicated because you have astrology, numerology, Kabbalah, you have
Mm.
elemental dignities, you have the majors and the minors, the hero's journey. Tarot can take a whole lifetime or
Mm.
two to really unfold and understand in its entirety, right? Of course you can pick up a deck and you can just read it intuitively and really most people do that. They just read what's going on in the pictures and relate that. But tarot can be really overwhelming for people.
Mm.
But as you progress with your psychic development, one of the first things that we all tend to do is we tend to create our own symbol dictionary, right? So, for example, if I'm doing a mediumship reading, then if I see a red rose or a yellow rose in someone's aura when I'm doing a mediumship reading, that to me that symbol means that a grandfather energy is coming
Mm.
through. So that doesn't necessarily mean that's what it means for everybody. It's just what it means for me
Yeah.
personally. I have my own psychic language. But one of the best ways to learn a psychic language is to learn what individual symbols mean. And we do this on an everyday basis. We think of lucky clovers, we think of lucky horseshoes, right?
Mhm.
There's so many different things that throwing salt over our shoulder and things of that nature. There's so many different little things that we do that have meaning. But what oracle cards do, and Lenormand is a form of an
Mm.
oracle card. It's a system. It's a 36 card system that has just one symbol. So one card may just have a flower on it. Another card may have an anchor, a ship's anchor on it, and so on and so forth. But what it helps you do is you learn what the traditional occult kind of spiritual psychic meaning is to those individual symbols, and then you can start deciphering what the cards are saying. But then it carries out into the real world as
Mm.
well. So if you see, say, clovers in real life, then you know you're about to come upon a
Mhm.
lucky situation, right? And so learning your psychic dictionary, your psychic language is probably one of the things that professional psychics spend the most time doing
Mm.
and creating for themselves. And that's what really makes each psychic so unique, because they kind of have
Mm.
their own language, right?
And that internal dictionary is so important. And I know we've mentioned his name on here before, but one of the first kind of TV psychics that was kind of commonly there, but was John Edwards, who's obviously
I've
one of
seen him live a couple times. Yes.
wow. And I remember it really resonated with me, kind of watching him, because he was talking about how spirit used to communicate with him through TV shows because he grew
Yes.
up in like the TV era. And I thought, that's what spirit do with me, movies, books, characters, because again, I think this is one of the strengths of neurodiversity and high sensitivity, is because I navigated my entire relationship network with through archetypes of people, and like, what is this archetype, and actually with and bringing them to life. And then the next layer to that, as well as having that kind of eureka moment, the next layer was the first time I did a platform demonstration of clairvoyant mediumship in a spiritualist church. Spirit were giving lots of evidence, lots of communication, and then all of a sudden they showed me a tarot card, and
Mm.
they showed me a tarot card of a particular symbol, and I was able to kind of visualize that and say, he's talking to me about somebody's done this and somebody's done that, and that's the situation, because I was talking about something I knew intimately, like the intricacy
Mm-hmm.
of the tarot. And I thought, how very clever. Spirit will use what you give them. What you work on, they will use that to try and get their point across. It's about broadening out
Absolutely.
that directory, isn't it?
One of my favorite party tricks is giving mental tarot readings where I don't even have a deck. I just clear my mind and just like, kind of shuffle in my mind and just let the first one come. And then I just, and it's one of those things where as you work with tools are just a stepping stone,
Mm.
right? They help us learn the languages. And then after a certain point, there's like that we start building that faith in ourselves and our ability to trust kind of what we're getting. And so, yeah, it's, tools are so helpful, but then once you graduate from tools, that's when you really start having fun, I think.
Yeah, I love the idea of that, doing your own mental tarot deck. I love that. I
Mhm.
love that. I love that. Amazing. Super. We've got some more good questions. We're going to do some more readings in a minute. We're just getting warmed up. So please do keep your questions and comments coming through. Judith's got a really interesting question here. Judith, see, I was drawn to your spirit art, Judith, for a reason. You're inspired
Mm.
spirit art. Do you know what it really reminds me of as well? It really reminds me of those impressionistic paintings of the water lilies and the
Monet.
haystacks.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gorgeous. So my challenge, Judith said, is how to start out business wise. I've been an employee working a care unit until I retired. My passion is art, channeling spirit. You've been doing it since 2018. Beautiful. Well done, you. Completely shy, moving away and moving forward, taking it further. Any advice? What's your 1 minute hot take, Christina, on this one?
Ask yourself what you think is the worst case scenario, because that's
Mm.
ultimately what's keeping you from making that next step. And then ask yourself what, okay, so if that worst case scenario happens, then what, right? Is that really the end of the world? So it kind of feels like maybe there is expecting a level of failure, but perhaps we can work through that. Yeah.
Mm. So take guidance from that, Judith. That what's the worst case scenario is a really good way to put it. And
Is
actually,
it
this
really
isn't
all
you.
that bad? You know?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think art is really, really important. I think, and I know because it's something that and it's very timely. I was drawn to you. I was been brought back into doing inspired spirit art again for people because it's needed. Because actually, there's something about the tangibility of having something. Readings are great, and you can record them and send Zoom recordings of your readings. It's fantastic. But there's something about having that image that actually you can then you see something new in it every time you look at it, and whatever kind of energy is needed to come through that painting at the time, the recipient will receive that. So keep on. If you need any support, you know where I am. Keep going.
It's almost kind of like, you know how we like to take selfies when we feel good? It's kind of like getting a soul selfie, right?
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that. Super. Great comment. Oh, hi, Matt. You're on. Nice to have you with us on Facebook. Really good to have you with us. Super. So, any more questions or comments? Anything that's on your mind, anything that's popping up for you, anything that's really resonating? And let us know how you're getting on with your spiritual journey. So, Summer's asked a really interesting question, and I'm going to answer it through some reading, some if that's all right, because I think it's going to come out in a reading. I often wonder what my life purpose is, and I also wonder what my psychic abilities really are. Please can I have a reading. I am going to pull from the Hero's Journey Dream Oracle because it's a really, really nice one to use. Okay. Oh, beautiful. Oh, Judith, don't be hard on yourself. Just do it and put it out there into the world.
Yeah. Let the people who are out there who want to love you, let them love you. Give them permission to love you.
You know, we love has a welcome audience here on SBTV as well.
Mm.
We're very open to people growing and sharing. So some of the card I've drawn for you is Ocean of Emotion. Oof. So this is really interesting. Talking about what your psychic abilities are. This is the empath card. This is the empath of all empaths card. This is the one of this is the kind of when I see this card, it lets me know that you have always been an extremely sensitive child. And I don't know your story, and I'm very conscious this is an open platform, Summer, but you've always had that ability to be able to walk into a room and sense exactly the dynamic of what is going on and the things that have never been said, but yet you're hearing it really loudly. This is the empath card. If you're not already working in the area where you are sitting with people, being with people, listening, you're a really lovely container for people to talk to. And don't forget, when we talk about psychic gifts, yes, it could be that you're a tarot reader, an oracle card reader, a psychic artist, a healer. There's all of the things in the known psychic spectrum. But my feeling is that I've always used my psychic gifts, even when I was in IT project management. You know, I was still using my psychic gifts. It was just in a different way. It was exhibiting itself working with a team. So just start developing, leap into the unknown. Don't be frightened of the emotion that comes up because it will, because spirit often use emotion as the vessel, as the lubricant in the gears of our psychic awareness. So there is a big lot of emotion. There's an awful lot of personal healing as well, which needs to happen alongside your spiritual development. But just dive into it because you have a treasure trove of spiritual gifts, because you have such heightened sensitivity. So just dive into it, Summer. Hope that made sense for you, my lovely. Amazing. You're very sensitive. Yeah. Yeah. Don't be frightened of your sensitivity. I remember being very shot down for my sensitivity when I was younger, but it was literally just like having the cork popped out of a bottle once I started sitting in circle. It's just this big rush of emotion because it felt so important and so in alignment with what I should be doing. So don't be frightened of it. Thank you, Summer. Hopefully that made sense for you. Right, Christina, do you want to see if you're drawn to somebody? If you fancy doing
Yes, I
another
would love
little
to talk
reading.
to Sanj. And they say, I would love a reading regarding the
Mm.
relationship between my divine life purpose and my sacred business. Oh, this is one of my favorite things to talk about. Okay.
Tell us
So
about
let
your
me,
business as well, Sanjalica. We want
yes,
to hear about it.
yes. Okay, so let me give you a practical answer while I shuffle real quick. The practical answer is, who do you advocate for? That's where your divine life purpose and your sacred business, that's where those two things spark. Okay. So if you are an advocate for, say, women, or you're an advocate for children, or you're an advocate for animals, or you're an advocate for any type of marginalized person, it's constructing your business around that relationship with that person to live out your divine life purpose, because that's how you're going to make the world a better place. Okay. Ooh, lovely. Oh, goodness. Okay, so bear has come up, and bear is a very, very powerful energy. So that tells me that you are actually someone who's very business savvy. You're someone who is probably already in the finance field or has a certain ability to work with wealth and finances already. Working on your money mindset has been something that has been very important. And Bear says this is something that you really protect. It's something that you hang on to. It's kind of like Mama Bear sort of energy, right? And then the other card I got is lilies. Lilies, we tend to think of traditionally lilies as kind of like a flower of maturity, right? And it also can deal with women's sensuality and also their intimate health in that regard. So it's very possible that with these two cards, there's something in that with helping women with their money mindset, helping them with their finances, helping them with their wealth mindset in that, but also helping them with their divine femininity also. I think that may be where your divine life purpose might be aligned right now.
Wow. You would have a queue out the door, Sanj. You would have a queue out the
Yes.
door. This is a huge
Women's
area.
circles, doing retreats, certain things like that.
Oh, yes, some feedback would be great on that. So let that all churn through and then let Christina know how that's kind of sitting with you. And what I would say is allow it to just settle on you. And I don't know if you find this, Christina, sometimes when you give this really kind of like strong advice to people, especially around things which are kind of triggering or things which we've got
Scary.
natural resistance
Yeah.
to, we kind of want to push it away a little bit. We need
Oh
to let it
no, I
settle.
can't do that.
Yeah.
But really
Oh,
spirit is leading you to be that person. And I always say the fact that if it's scary, if it frightens you, you have resistance around it, that means you are the correct person to do it because that's an esteemed position of power and authority that you need that ethical consciousness to be able to maintain that and to do it well. So if you're scared of that role, you're the perfect candidate for that role.
Christine, I feel like I need you as a meme on my phone or something. This is my little ringtone. If you're feeling the fear, then you're the right person to bring it into the birth it into the world. I love
Yeah,
that.
because you won't
Oh,
abuse it. God chose you. Yep.
my goodness. So yeah, as Sonj said, that really resonated. So go do it. Go forth. Go and do the thing. Amazing. Super. Oh, we've got Gail on Facebook. So Gail's had a really tough time. So Gail said, I lost my mum right before Thanksgiving. I'm really sorry, Gail. Yeah, that's really, really hard. And you're still in it. You're still in that. You brought mum home from hospice. Hope you understood I made decisions that went against what others wanted. Did I give her the comfort she deserved? My goodness. I think Christina probably wants to speak to this one as well, because I can kind of like feel your energy reaction to it. You know,
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking about, I feel like as psychic people, we tend to go through this. This is like a loop that we kind of find ourselves in as in being the caregivers of the world. And first, I just want to say thank you for being your mother's advocate. I know that going against what everybody else said was one
Mm,
of the hardest things that you did, but I know your mother, I can see her smiling and she said, "Oh my God, thank you so much for doing what I wanted. Thank you so much for trying your best. And that's all I could ever ask you to do, just to try
mm,
your best." She says she loves you, that she's in a good place. She's not in pain anymore. She says she's sorry that she had to leave you the way that she did. She didn't want that. But she said you being there and doing things according to her will made that all okay. And she
mm.
says thank you. And she's very excited to see you again.
Oh, lovely, lovely message. Thank you. Um, the fact you're writing that, Gail, you're answering your own question. You did, and as Christina said, this is about doing the very best we can. And do you know what, Spirit know our hearts? They absolutely know our hearts. And when they've moved back to the spirit world, back to the summerlands, they're able to look at things in a far different perspective than maybe
Mhm.
we get tangled up in the emotion and the humanness and the need to keep them with us and the need to try and prolong a situation because of the physical need to be with somebody and to keep
Yeah.
them here with us. And that's very, very human. But you're doing some beautiful work and she will continue to be with you. That bond of love is never broken. It just a physical impossibility for it to be broken. So take comfort in that, Gail, and I hope you find some comfort over Christmas. It's always a really hard time if you've lost somebody over Christmas. So wishing you lots of healing and lots of love and support, and make sure you reach out as well. If family is problematic, then make sure you reach out to other people in your network that can kind of support you and be with you. Thank you, Gail. Thank you for being with us. And I hope that gave you some comfort, sweet.
It's something we all go through, you know.
Mm. And it doesn't get easier being a spiritual
No.
person. It doesn't ever
We
get
feel it
the
so much
physical
deeper.
lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's our gift.
It's a double-edged sword, though, isn't it? That
Mm-hmm.
intense ability to perceive and to experience is amazing when it's heightened, but it can also, you talked about the dark night of the soul at the top here, and actually, many spiritual people, they feel those depths and the questioning and the darkness and the
You know what,
downstates the
Gail, your
most.
mother, she just told me she's going to send you a sign. She said, be on the lookout. And
Oh,
it's going to, color yellow is coming out for me. So
beautiful.
be on a lookout for that.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we already spoke about a couple of the things that people can do when they start to exercise their psychic muscles. But what are your spirit team telling you is kind of like next for spiritual people? Because we have been through globally in the last,
Yes.
it's been quite a time, and there's more to come, I think. I don't know about you, but I'm told my circle when we kind of broke for the Christmas holidays, I was like, enjoy the rest, because I feel like 2025 is going to be
It's going to be another 4 years of,
like a big acceleration.
yes, yes,
So what
yes.
are you getting, Christina? What's
And we
your
just
inside
had
track?
Pluto go into a different sign, so things are changing astrologically, but also astronomically too. But yeah, so I think for so long we've been in hiding. I feel
Mm,
like we've all, especially with the, going through the pandemic and everything like that, I feel like we have all been kind of like in our bubbles doing our healing, focusing on our connection to God and the divine, healing ourselves physically, healing ourselves emotionally, spiritually, working on our boundaries, that sort of thing. And I feel like now we're going to be shifting to more of an external reality.
mm,
So I'm really seeing a huge picking up in like those in-person circles coming back.
mhm,
Their in-person retreats are starting to come back. Us, spiritually kind of advanced folks finding ways to give back to our communities and to show up within our communities, start creating that physical relationship, and then realizing also that like these podcasts and I've met so many people that I've met online from being students, and we've met each other, organize that. And so really bringing that online aspect of it to a tangible physical reality. I think that's the next step, because I think we're ready, seriously ready to manifest these new systems that take care of people, these new philosophies and morals and ethics that really are about taking care of people, right?
mm,
Instead of the way that it kind of has been for the past, say, 20 years or so.
absolutely, absolutely. And there's been such a massive uptick in the move from mental health and emotional support, going from very medicalized, very kind of occupational health model, to then sort of branching out to saying, however you need to find your support, you go and find that. And lots of different subgroups and subtypes popping up. But the number of people that come for Reiki healing that are working in the blue light services and the
Yes.
public sector, because actually it's kind of a thing that's an established thing now. Reiki healing isn't as woo-woo as it was many years ago. It's now a thing.
Yeah, I feel like Europe is definitely a little bit advanced on that.
Okay.
The UK, as opposed to in the United States, we're still kind of, we're still a little bit judgmental about that. Yeah.
Mm. Well, you will always be welcome over here, Christina. You know that, because
Yes.
we're it'd be lovely to have you over here.
Yes, the UK is full of witches and woo-woo people, and you guys are my people. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Thank you. Oh, and some lovely feedback from Gail for your reading about her mum. Thank you, Gail. Thank you very much for the feedback. Okay. Are there anyone else who would like a reading? We've got the time, and we've got a brilliant person here for readings. So let's see who we have got. You shout up if there's somebody that you see that you're drawn to, Christina. I will pick Suzanne Robin, because I loved your profile picture. Suzanne Robin on Facebook with the cute little cutie with the curly bubbles. Amazing. It's really resonating with that little picture. It's really cute.
Okay.
Amazing. So I have got the Soul's Journey Tarot, which is a James Van Praagh deck.
Yes,
Again,
he's one of
because
my
I
favorites too. I really like him a lot.
it's got just a lovely way with his energy. It's beautiful. So the card that you're being drawn is the surrender card. So it's an interesting card. It's not a positive card. It's not a negative card. The same with all of these. There's no such thing as a good or a bad card. What the surrender card is saying, the surrender card is asking you to just let go of what's in your hands, because if you're holding on to something really, really, really tightly, then you're not creating space for something new to come in. This is kind of surrendering what it is that's outside of your control, surrendering things which, sometimes you can be awake all night and you're wondering, different scenarios and like, what if they did? And you're creating multiple realities, which your energy system then has to service all of these realities. And you're trying to be in a sleep state. The surrendering is almost saying, go to the center of the, and it's funny, I was looking at your picture and thinking of the Wizard of Oz, probably because I saw Wicked last week, and it's just like just stolen a piece of my heart I can never get back. But be Dorothy Gale, be in that center of the storm. Actually, there's nothing you can do. You're just in this ride for the ride, and you just have to experience that spirit are moving you from one place to the next place. They're dropping you down where it is you need to be. Don't try running and fighting to try and get back to where you were, because it's not where you need to be. In the kind of tarot, we would say this is your tower moment. This is like realizing that everything is kind of built on the shaky sand and it's not a reality that you can stay in. You are moving, you are evolving, you are progressing. It feels really exciting, but it feels quite nervous. And Christina was talking about that resistance. I'm feeling that resistance in my body, that I know it's good for me. I know I need to be somewhere else, but I just need to surrender who I thought I was. Um, and knowing that you can't take everybody with you. You can't take everybody with you. Your mindset is changing, your reality is changing, you're opening yourself up. And actually, there are some people that we will naturally outgrow. And it feels a lot. It feels very emotional. It's not saying that you're never going to have that relationship again, but you're moving and growing and evolving. I hope that makes sense for you, Susan, but it feels exciting and emotional and timely. I hope that makes sense for you, Susan Robin. Thank you. Oh, lovely. Oh, so yeah, Christina, let me know if you're drawn to anybody. You've
Yeah,
got
I would love
some.
to answer Kim actually, because
Mm,
she has a really interesting question. And I love talking about like the philosophy of spirituality, right?
mm,
They say, Kim says, as we get closer to the end of our time on earth, does spirit make themselves known to us? Yes.
mm,
So, as you get closer to your time, when it's time for you to go back, I kind of look at it as like spirit is kind of like this big pool, big ocean, right? And we're all just little drops within that, having a physical experience right now in this reality. But when we go back, we kind of become absorbed into that collection of consciousness again, and we upgrade consciousness, and then we come back, we reincarnate if we want to as a new being in order to take back. It's kind of like we're kind of like agents of physical reality intel, right? And so what happens is when we start to get closer to the end of our time, and this has been very well documented,
mm.
that you will start to see people who have already passed away. They will start coming back for you.
Yeah.
So what happens is your spirit team will start coming for you. And I don't mean that in an ominous way. I mean, they will come and they will start giving you messages of encouragement. You'll have
Mm,
dreams and you'll be talking to people clear as day. Your dreaming starts to become way more lucid. You're aware that you're dreaming. You're aware that you're speaking to these people. You're going to have massive signs from the universe coming in, lots of synchronicities, coincidences, serendipity type of stuff coming in. But yeah, so it's very well documented that your ancestors, the people that
mm,
you have become your spirit team, your earth angels, your angelic team, they will start making their presence known. And I feel like they do this in a way to kind of give us comfort as we
mm.
start, and to start introducing us to more of these, spiritual kind of experiences that we're going to be shifting primarily into, away from the physical. That's what I
Mm.
think. What do you think, Ashley?
I think it's I completely agree, and it's interesting. We have a lot of people on here who work in care or nursing, and actually, like you say, it's really well documented. I think Moody did the whole study about near death experiences, and actually the number of people in care who say, I've seen spirit, I've seen her
Yes.
husband come for her, and And actually, you know, we tend to find people who are very close to passing. They'll talk about, oh, mum's here. Oh, my
Hmm.
auntie Linda's here, and they're at the bed, and that because they're straddling the worlds.
Yes.
But for people who pass suddenly, and this is something which, you know, is very traumatic.
Hmm.
Um, Spirit told me once, and I've witnessed and seen many, many messages where spirits say it's like being born. So when we're born here, there is a nurse to receive us, a midwife, there is a I remember the mother for you to be born, but there's someone to receive you here in the same way there's someone to receive you in the spirit world.
Yeah.
And they're able to bridge the gaps. They're able to bridge the world. What's really interesting, Christina, is there are so many people now who are moving into death doulaing and soul
Yes, I love
midwifery.
that. I love that field. I love it.
There's lots, and
I
it's
love
so
how that's
needed.
changing, especially in the United States of America. We have a very unhealthy relationship with
Right.
death. We put our people in nursing homes, we forget about them. We're not part, we don't have wakes anymore. It's one of those things where we're very, very scared of death. And I just want to say this too, as we kind of near the end of our time, to kind of piggyback on that conversation about what happens, when we pass away. And there's this quote that people say all the time is that, when we pass away, we do it alone, right? And I vehemently disagree with that. I don't believe that we do it alone. I believe that our spirit guides come for us, our spirit team comes for us. And I do believe that you are surrounded at the end with people who love you. And I don't feel like for the majority of people who've done their shadow work, who have been on a spiritual journey, who are aware that yes, we are going to pass away and to live your life according to that principle, that at the end, I feel like it can be a very peaceful and relieving thing to happen to us. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. My spirit guide has said to me, not one single person passes alone. You,
Yeah. Kim
everyone
says
is met.
if Kim says that she has an end date. And so she's been feeling a lot of spiritual, her spirit team around her. So
Mm.
yeah, then they're just going to come full force. So if you get to the point where things get too overwhelming, call out for them and they will come for you. They will comfort you.
Yeah, absolutely, Kim. And reach out for support and healing. And I don't know if you're in the UK, Kim, but you know, Christina's already said there are services and support and lots of networks. You know, a very good friend of mine passed away very young, and the support networks are incredible. So yeah, please do. Sending you lots of love and support and comfort, Kim. Okay, Leanne's got a lovely oh, Leanne, right. I'm going to read this out because it's speaking to me. I'm hoping to get into garden therapy for people going through a tough time as well as young people. It really helped pull me out of a funk. Nothing more amazing than growing your own food and flowers. Leanne, I am a huge fan of this comment. I wish I could gold star this one. It is transformative. The return to nature, the rewilding of our spiritual self is so important. And as a parent of two neurodiverse children, I know how important being out in nature is. And there's an amazing project close to us called Tumbledown Farm, where they've reclaimed a council farm and they've opened it up for people who are addiction problem and to get themselves on their feet again, people with mental health, local schools, and it's just an amazing space for people to go and grow food and just get involved. So Leanne, I think now is the time. Christina's already said we are moving away from established models and moving into
Mm-hmm.
stuff which feels in alignment. Well done, Leanne.
I love gardening. I think gardening really saves me.
Right.
Um, it's such a peaceful thing, but it's a barometer for your how you're feeling in life too. Because
Mm.
like if I can make things grow well, then it's kind of like thought format. It's kind of like sympathetic magic, right? Like my garden does well, it's a reflection of my outer life and my inner life as well. But also, I mean, just learning how to grow my own food and not being so dependent on, because I do a huge garden. I did over 300 plants this year. Um,
Whoa.
yeah. So, and
How
I'm
do you find
looking
time?
that it's my job now because it
Wow.
becomes my job now that I can do passive income and, I don't have to show up every day for work to make money. And so now I've been able to, pivot to doing and so I actually teach in-person classes on gardening. I grow my own plant medicines, I grow flowers and things like that. So I'm very, very involved and I do my own tinctures and oils and all that kind of stuff. So that would be a fun live to do, talking about
Right, we'll
all
do
that
that
good stuff.
in the new year. We'll have you back to talk about that
Yeah.
because tea is now my guilty pleasure. I met some at a
Ah,
psychic fair
yes.
many, many months ago, and they were talking about health benefits of tea, and it's just revolutionary. And
Mm.
Tumbledown Farm that I spoke about, they had a herbalist that came, and she was talking about all the stuff that was just growing there. It was just growing. And she's like, this does this, and that, and it's just
The gardening really teaches you that the spirit is taking care of you because these things are in nature. It's already there. We just have to learn how to use that wisdom, right?
yeah, love that. Love
Yeah.
that. Brilliant. So more power to your arm, Leanne. Forest schools, revolutionary. More and more schools are getting stuck in with them. So
I
go and
wish I
volunteer.
had that when I was younger, instead of being locked in a box all day, with 30 other students. I wish we had a forest that we could just go out and
Yeah.
explore and learn about life.
Yeah, it's really important. Really important. Amazing. Thank you so much, Leanne. Really lovely. Really lovely. So you have a herb garden at your allotment. Well, I think we might have to get Christina back to talk about herbs and tinctures and doing all of the things because it's a perfect time to do it in the new year because you can plan your
Yes.
witch's herb garden. Mine's looking a bit barren at the moment in winter in the UK, but
Yes, I'll start about February. That's about when I'll start planning and start planting and stuff like that. Yeah.
super. So, Leanne, I pulled a card for you, the card that's come from the Sacred Rebels deck because we're rebelling against normal structures. The card that you've had, I'm not going to share it because there is a lady board. It's called Against the Grain. But this is absolutely about if the crowd is going one way, then you go the other way because your whole energy, you are a disruptor in your energy. And I'm not saying this in a negative way. This is just about you ask questions like, well, why do we do that? Well, can we not try something else?
Mhm.
This is going to be so successful for you. I'm really excited because I don't think it's going to stop at forest schools, if I'm completely honest. There are so many avenues to take it into. So rewilding for kids, amazing meditation for children, people with mental health concerns. Christina's already talked about Women's Circle and the Feminine Rewilding Project. As women, we've been completely disconnected from the earth and the moon cycles and nature and the rhythm of life. There is so much potential out there and there is so much interest in it. And normally I find people who are interested normally it's crystals and moon cycles that are almost like the gateway drug for people to get into any
Yes,
kind of real
yes.
worlding.
Crystals are definitely a gateway for sure.
So I can absolutely see that it's about questioning things, not going with established norms. For you, your success is going to be in your passion for the subject and your ability to network with people, your ability to make connections, your ability to remember things about people. All of those, like we talked about, all those spiritual gifts that you've got. It's nothing to do with reading tarot cards or oracle cards. This is just your ability to understand what it is that really drives and motivates people. So I
How
can see
people
this
feel
being
when
very
they're around
successful.
you, right?
Absolutely. And I also think there's something here around working with water. There's also something here about, I don't know if you've looked into cold water swimming
Mm.
or anything like that, but that's also something that's really popular and coming into common parlance again. And it works really, really well in that natural setting. So yeah, go for it, Leanne. I'm excited for you.
You know what I just heard is, Leanne, I don't know if you are aware of what spirit allies are, and they are like, they could be spirit guides, but that are not necessarily human, but could be like water elementals or fire
Mm.
elementals. But I heard that there's a spirit guide that would like to connect with you, and you can do this by putting a bowl of water with just a regular quartz in it outside, and that's the first step. So see if there's maybe a water elemental that's trying to connect with you, because that really resonated when Ashley said that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. It's exciting. It's exciting times, Leanne. Yeah, go and get stuck into
Yeah.
it. Got loads of time over Christmas and Yule to go and experiment all of these things. Amazing, amazing. So, Christina, for people who want to find out a little bit more about you, we've already given you the website. What's Serendipity saying? Oh no, I've got a gateway drug on my nose, rose
Me
quartz.
too.
You know what? Rose quartz, serendipity. Rose quartz is one of my absolute favorites, and
It
it's a
has the most
beautiful,
beautiful
soft.
energy. Yeah.
It's got a soft energy, but do you know what? Sometimes rose quartz does call you out on stuff where you're not kind to yourself. So serendipity, if you are being drawn to rose quartz at the moment, just a little bit of a crystal reading for you. Um, love yourself, but rose quartz is calling you out on actually where you talk really harshly to yourself and where you're not unkind to yourself, but you're harder on you than other people would be. Um, it's also calling in that divine feminine energy as well, serendipity 589. So if you're not already looking into feminine guides, any kind of goddess work, Mary Magdalene is one of the feminine guides that I work with. This is around the stepping into your feminine power as a spiritual worker. It's hard, but it's definitely worthwhile. You've got something to say. You've got a presence to be in the world. Go and get stuck in.
Beautiful.
Yeah, well done, serendipity. Love a bit of rose quartz. Got a big lump of rose quartz in pretty much every room, I think.
Mm.
I can be sometimes you won an award at work. I don't understand why. You don't need to understand why. The award was awarded externally. It's something that you don't have to be aware. You don't have to overthink it. Just accept it with gratitude. Gratitude is one of these amazing vibrations that just brings more and more to you. So yeah, just accept it.
I've
Well
noticed
done.
gifted people who are just naturally like good at something, they have such a difficult time accepting awards, because they're like, what did I do? I'm just naturally good at this, but
Did you
people
find that
need
when you
to.
were working psychically in
Oh
circle
yeah,
that you'd be like, well,
yeah,
don't you all just see people?
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Mm, yeah, because it's not an effort, but then doesn't that mean you're in alignment if it's not an effort? So yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
So gratitude is great, fantastic. Go with gratitude. It's really good to have you on serendipity. Really good. Amazing. So Christina, we're coming to the end of time. I'm very conscious this is the start of your working day. Just as we're in the UK, kind of like winding down for the evening on a Thursday. So it's the start of your working day. You've got a full
Is.
day planned of doing amazing stuff with the spirit world, and of course. People can find you on your own Facebook page as well, can't you? You're doing vodcasts every Monday evening, I think,
Yeah,
isn't it?
so I'm currently in season two. I do them for 12 episodes at a time. We're coming up on the sixth episode of season two is coming up on this Monday. So my podcast is called Monday Magic and Marketing. And why I chose Monday is because that's the day that I think collectively we all dread the most. And so I really wanted to find a day that people were feeling low energy, that I could impact them in a high value way to set the tone for their whole week. And basically, I'm on live for like an hour. It's basically very much similar to this, but it's just me. And we talk about the energetics of business, and we talk about the energetics of worthiness and deservingness, and how to monetize your psychic gifts. So that's really what we're focusing on this season, is the energy that's required behind it, the mindset that is behind it. Yeah.
Amazing. It's definitely worth a watch. You'll probably see me hanging around on there asking lots of
It's
questions.
also on YouTube too. The replays are on YouTube as well.
Super. So go and check out Christina. Thank you so much for your time. It's an absolute joy to see you on Zoom, Christina. Thank you so much for joining.
Agreed.
And for everyone who's been here this evening, whether you have been live, whether you're watching on catch-up replay, I hope something this evening resonated with you. I'm sure it has. And if you know anyone that this would resonate with, then please do tag them in it or send it to them or send them the link to the YouTube, just so they can get all of the goodness out of this. I'm not going to see you now until after Christmas, which is just this year. It's been such a roller coaster and such a ride. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being here on a Thursday evening every 2 weeks, be part of this very, very special time that we have together. The next SBTV show that's going to be on is going to be the lovely Deb Clark on Monday evening. So you can catch her. She's an incredible medium, very down to earth. I know she's really popular. The queen of SPTV. So do go and check her out and have an amazing Christmas and amazing Yule. And I will see you in the new year. Thank you so much, Christina. And thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. Cheerio. Bye, everyone.